Other interesting business news, you have U.S. Steel looking at options, quote unquote, after rejecting a $7.3 billion offer, which that's astronomical in this economy with all uncertainty, 40-year hyperinflation. They turned down all that sweet cash. Now, it was a mixture between cash and stock in terms of the offer, but nevertheless, as a wise man once say, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. So it was interesting to see that they actually rebuffed this offer. Now, specifically, it looks like this offer is coming from a company by the name of Cleveland Hills Inc., which is another giant steel maker headquartered in the United States. And it looks like it was a mixture of cash and stock offer from the Ohio-based Cliffs Values company at $7.3 billion, which is a pretty, depending on who you ask, a pretty good deal because it's literally 43% premium over the current stock value of U.S. Steel. So that's a pretty darn good premium. And it looks like this was actually not publicly known, but Cliffs actually went public with this offer after U.S. Steel rejected the bid as being, quote, unreasonable, unquote. And instead of announcing a formal review process, saying the company received multiple bids for parts and all the business. So it'll be interesting to see. Maybe they didn't want to be part of a conglomerate. Now it looks like Cliffs, they've been pretty heavy in the acquisitions, especially given the industry trends for steel. And they bought AK Steel Holdings in 2020. And then it looks like they're acquiring the U.S. business of steelmaker ArcelorMittal the same year. So they've done quite a lot of acquisitions. And with steel in particular, it's one of those industries where there is a huge competition in China because, depending on who you ask, some of the IT technology with servers, people see it as a commodity. Now, engineers will, argue to the red in the face, saying that, different servers have different speeds and feeds, different firmware embedded into the silicon. And same with steel, you could also argue the properties of steel, which one is stronger, depending on where it's made, what's the raw materials coming from, what's the end product. But it's hard to change that perception of it being a commodity. And that's why, being a sales rep, selling servers, I don't know anyone who's still doing that for a living these days in terms of computer servers. But that's why it could be a little bit different from steel. So you've seen a lot of consolidation, and China's growing exponentially with their steel production. Now, it looks like, I believe a couple years back, Trump kind of rebuffed or helped the U.S. industry in terms of aluminum, or as the Brits would say, aluminium, just because they want to sound fancy, which it does sound a little fancy to say that. But they did, I think it was a 25% tariff on both aluminum and steel that was imported from China, in part to try to protect U.S. entities, which, depending on how your economic beliefs and the free market, is a good or bad thing depending on your beliefs. But it did have an effect on the industries in the United States. And I believe those are lifted by now. So it'll be interesting to see, maybe U.S. Steel just sees a lot more upside. I mean, we've all heard the stories where, I believe it was Microsoft offered to buy Yahoo for $43 or $47 billion at one point. And at the end of the day, they sold to Verizon for like $4 billion. And that now Yahoo's been bought and sold more times than I keep track of, frankly. But you also have those other instances where they offered to buy a company, and that company turns out to be Google. So you got instances on both sides of the aisle where it's the biggest mistake or the biggest opportunity to make that decision to sell or not to sell. It'll be interesting to see where they go from there. Time shall tell. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Again, we're trying to get to 3,000 subscribers by the end of August, so you can click that button and greatly appreciate it. Also, don't forget to take the time to like and comment. The feedback is greatly appreciated. It's how we make the show better and better. And lastly, don't forget to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and fight the good fight.